Well, that's where you sit back and watch your home, Rabbi. So nice to see you too. So, I'm saying loose snake shoes and loose snake shoes. This was about the clothing. About the clothing, so he was loose snake shoes. He took them off and he had them sitting there like little icons. How good it is to dwell together as brothers and sisters. Shabbat. With Hine Matzah. Oh, he's with me. Okay.
Hine Matzah manai, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matzah manai, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matzah, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matzah, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matzah manai, 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 shevet achim gam yachad.
Wish each other a good Shabbos. If I could ask a wonderful woman to come out and light the candles. Eddie, since you traveled the farthest, you get to actually light them. That wasn't a request. That is good. We're going to see how the Israeli does with the childproof lighter. Afterwards, we invite the angels of peace to come to us and be with us, to bless us. Amen. As we welcome the angels of peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amami, Makadosh Baruch. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Hashem, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amami, Makadosh Baruch. Shalom, Malachei Hashem, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amami, Makadosh Baruch. Shalom, Malachei Hashem, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Amami, Makadosh Baruch.
Wish each other a good Wish each other a good Shabbos. Parents, please let me with your children with your parents. Joel, come be with your dad. For the girls, may God bless you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. For the boys, may God bless you like Ephraim and like Manasseh. May God always bless you and always protect you. May God lift up his countenance, being kind and gracious, compassionate with you in every place, space, and time. May God bless you with good health, good mental health, good emotional health, good physical health, good spiritual health. With wisdom, with courage, with parnasa, with prosperity, with fun, with joy, with sisterhood, with brotherhood, with kindness, with compassion, with wisdom, with fun, with love, and always with peace. Okay, let's go. We continue our service on page 19 as we read about being close to God, being aware of God's nearness. You know, you can't get closer to God, can you? If God's infinite, you can't get closer. So why do we talk about getting closer? We don't. We talk about feeling our closeness, being aware of our relationship, being aware of the intimacy with God. And so we respond to the eternal God, whose temple is the whole world, and whose dwelling place is the human heart. We know that you are everywhere and that your presence never leaves us.
And we are thankful for appointed times and chosen places where we come together to turn to you in prayer.
Help us to feel your nearness, O God, at this hour and in this place.
The toil has ended, the day of rest has come. We pause to reflect on the beginning of our lives.
Source of all creation, you have given us the blessing of work, so that by our efforts we may fashion things of use and moments of helpfulness.
You have also given us the Shabbat for rest, renewal, and sanctification.
May the work of our hands and minds be acceptable to you, O Lord, drawing us ever closer to you in truth and in love, and together we say, Amen. Amen. So, how many of you think you are or may be going to Israel this summer? Are you guys not raising your hand? You're not going to Israel this summer? Lachanoti is a wedding chant. In Shabbat, at the time of the Makabalim, they would go and they'd set up a chuppah, and they would sing this and they would dance underneath the chuppah. The idea of being blessed by the bride of the Sabbath bride, by the Shekhinah, the idea of Shemor v'Zachor, to protect and remember our one word. So really, really welcome how beloved God is and how beloved we are. Shemor v'Zachor, protect and remember.
Shemor v'Zachor, before the God, each help you God, Adonai Echad, Ushmo Echad, L'Shem Utiferet,
Let me pray for the Holy City of So we're reading, let our flame up, be passionate. Rise. Turn to the door. Sabbath Friday, all week, Shekhinah wanders. On Shabbat she rests. Where she rests in Jewish homes, in Jewish temples, Jewish communities. She rests in the hearts of every person who's going to welcome her and allow her to bless us with all that is good.
Shalom, Aseret Bala, Kam Vestimcha, Uzohola, Tochemune, Segula,
We may sing as the canon calls us to worship. Please be seated. Turn to page 51. Everything is holy. Ariv Aravim is to recognize the difference between the holiness of the day and the holiness of the night. The holiness of the week, the holiness of the Shabbos, the holiness of Westlake Village, and the holiness of Yerushalayim. And so to recognize the distinctions is just to recognize that is to see God's presence in the world. And we read responsibly, praise to you, O Lord our God, Lord of the universe, whose word brings on the dusk of evening.
Your wisdom opens the gates of dawn, your understanding regulates time and seasons.
The stars above follow their appointed rounds in response to your divine will.
Create day and night, you alternate darkness and light.
You remove the day and bring on the night, you separate one from the other.
Lord of heavenly hosts, you are our God.
May you rule over us as you rule over nature. Praise you, O Lord, who brings on the evening dusk. El Chai B'Kayam, T'Mikol Elam Ba'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Amari Varadi. Before we say the Shema, we need to recognize God's love for us. Both the Ahavat Olam, the love of the world, and the Ahavat Olam, the Olam. And think about this past week. In so many different ways, God has expressed his love to our people. But as, or more importantly, to each of us individually. Whereas God sat there and said, you know what? You Jewish people, remember, I'm going to take care of you. You did a lot of that this week. You, each of you individuals, each of you Jews that I love so much, he says, feel that love in our heart. Because that's really what it's about. If we can have Ahavat Hashem, we can have anything. Just feel it and recognize it. So for a moment, think of that love of God in your own life this past week. And from there, we're truly able to say the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Ve'ata el Adonai Elohecha, B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha, B'chol me'odecha, Echayu ha'devarim ha'ele, Asher Elohim etzavecha, Hayom alavavecha, V'shinatcha levanecha, V'livarcha V'shitecha v'neitzecha, U'lechtecha b'derech, U'sharecha u'kumecha, U'kshartam be'ot ha'yotecha, V'hayu letotachot v'neinecha, U'kavcha v'mezuzot v'neitzecha, V'yisharecha. L'ma'an tizkaru, V'asitem et kol mitzvotai, V'yitam kadoshim Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hoseiti etchem be'eretz Mitzrayim, V'yavachem l'navim, Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Every week, I say the same thing. Every week it's still true. No matter how dark the world gets, we are Jews and we have faith it gets better. The darkness will change and does change. 18 months ago, the darkness was deeper than I've ever experienced in my life. And we're starting to see some light, aren't we? We'll learn more about that tonight, about the light. We need to remember that God is always spreading over us and covering up his peace. We need to remember that our defense is less the Iron Dome and more the Dome of God. We need to remember that the time will come in our time. Lo Yisrael, Pharaoh's nation shall no longer live in sword. This is the one prayer we tell our hearts fully, nothing else. So really open up. Have faith that darkness does change. The more we can recognize that darkness changes, the faster that light will show up. The more we recognize we are protected and safe, the more faith we have, and the more it is rewarded. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the day turns to night. Glorious I go ahead. Gloria Madu Kasama. Glorious I go ahead. Gloria Madu Kasama. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the day turns to night. Continue on page 66, Bahatzi Kaddish.
Yikara v'yikara shemerava.
Amen.
Amadira v'yitevele mokote. Avaye moryore. V'yida pomesh Yisrael. V'agala v'agala. U'yisman kari. V'imelu alem. Heshmera Mamevora, Me'olam Me'omaya, Yibara, Yishtabar, Yitaridama Yitase, Yitada, Yitale, Yitala, Yirene Leila, Mohemala, Meshirata.
Please rise. Page 68, the Amidah, the prayer in the Talmud just called out the feel of the prayer. In the beginning, when it says "Anaisa v'taipi taku fi yagid," it actually means not to. It means literally yagid. It's conjugations beyond feel. It's cause my mouth to tell of your praises. The idea is that the Amidah, we are to be so empty that we hear God speaking our own voice to ourselves. Fully empty and know why we are here.
La 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 Shabbat. La 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 Ofi agi tehilate echa. La 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 Yonai. La 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 Sakai Tika. La 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 Ufi agi. Ufi agi tehilate. Atari Bolelamandai, Rachayim Timatam Rabbehoshia, Mashiva Ruach Morira Gashem, Rachakel Hayim Bechesed, Rachayim Etim Berachamim Rabim, Somer Koflim Berofe Holim, Umatir Asuri. Please continue with traditional prayers to page 74. Your own personal prayers. When you're done with your private devotions, please be seated. Shalom Rava Yisrael Nasi Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Nasi Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon Levol HaShalom. Ki atahu melech adon Levol HaShalom. Shalom Rava Yisrael Nasi Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Nasi Leolam. L'tov me'inach levanem et amcha Yisrael lepoleinu bechol sha'a lishlomecha. Shalom Rava Yisrael Nasi Leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Nasi Leolam. Nasi Leolam. Nasi Leolam.
Shabbat shalom, aren't they guys? Oh, no. If you do that, they're gonna want more than a shot of tequila to get paid. So don't do it. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos. And where it is a fabulous and fantastic Torah portion. Just like every week. Actually, this is the Torah portion of Vayikra. It is the beginning of the book miscalled Leviticus. Vayikra does not mean Leviticus. It does not even mean Levites. It literally means "and he called," and it's a double entendre. It's a double entendre that it's about. Most of the book is about the Levites and the Kohanim, the descendants of Aaron, and it's really wonderful. But it's about them calling to God, how we are to call to God. Those of us who are Kohanim, that we are to call to God. We are to be assisted in that by the Levites. Stan, you know what that job entails. And for those who don't know, the Levites are supposed to wash the Kohan's hands and feet. He has no problem washing his hands. It's a great teaching. The whole book's about how we're to call to God. But it's also another piece. It is a piece. This word Vayikra, it is a word that means "and he called" in terms of God called to us. See, we talk a lot about how we call to God, but do we listen to God's call for us when God rings the phone, we pick it up? It's God. Do we listen or do we hang up? It's really all that God wants. It's like any loving parent or any loving spouse. God just wants us to say, Hineni, I'm here. I love you too. And so this whole book is about that. And it really ties into what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm not going to do very much talking. You're kind of going, yeah, right. because does anyone know where God calls from? So there's an old joke, you've probably heard it, right? The chief rabbi of Israel is at the Vatican, and he sees this beautiful golden phone. I don't know if you guys notice, that beautiful golden phone. He says, what's that? It's the phone to God. And he says, really, can I use it? He goes, no, it's very, very expensive. So, a couple weeks later, the Pope is in Jerusalem, he's with the chief rabbi, he sees this phone, he goes, what's that? He goes, it's the phone that we have to God. He goes, can I use it? He goes, of course, from here it's a local call. I can't believe they hadn't heard that. God calls from Israel, specifically from the mount. So there is a midrash that teaches when you say a prayer, do you know what happens to the prayer? Think of it like a little winged dove, right? Matt, do a dove impersonation. Thank you. I thought you were going to play Princess with Dove Christ.
I'll be ready next time.
It flies away from our hearts, from our intention, and it flies away. You know where it goes? Jerusalem. And we believe that every Jewish prayer goes through the wall to the top of the mountain, from there to heaven. That goes back a couple thousand years. So it's where God calls us from, and it's what calls every Jewish soul, is to go home. My friend and teacher, blessed memory, Schwartz, used to say every Jew has a home, Israel. That is our home for all of us. And so a number of you are coming to Israel, a number of you are thinking about coming to Israel, a number of you are not coming, a number of you are not thinking about it. Some of you aren't even sure where Israel is on the map. And some of you think Gaza is, and I'm sure it's in the south. But so we have a very special couple of guests here from Israel, Eyal and Eti, some dear friends whom my family loves very much, I love very much. And Eyal is the former CEO of the World Maccabee Union. So he has been in for 35 years, right? Which is cool because he's only 29 and his wife is 27, which is really cool. And no, you can ask them. And so I thought it'd be nice, since he's here, if he spoke to everybody about what's really going on in Israel. So just so you know, I think you know this, every day other than Shabbos, an email goes out. I write it around 2 or 3 in the morning, as you know when I call you and we talk at 1 in the morning. Orlando then sends it out around 6. And for many people, it's their, I'll bump into people I do not even know who say, Rabbi, I read your email. It's the first thing I read when I wake up. Because I'll call the different news media as well as some WhatsApp groups that I'm part of and relay things. Because what we hear in America is nothing at all like what's happening in Israel. Okay, what we hear in America is left of the Jerusalem Post. So I thought it'd be appropriate this way. He can talk to you about what's really going on in Israel. That might be a nice discussion for you to have any questions, any comments, questions about our trip, any questions about, even though he's not arranging it per se, he is arranging part of it. It is because of him that we will have opening games tickets. It's because of him that we will be going to this gala, which he can tell you the dress code better than I. If one more person asks me, what's the appropriate dress code?
I was going to send you.
And someone asked me, and I said, ask Allison what the appropriate dress code is for women. I bet, do I? And so you can ask me questions, talk about Israel, whatever else it might be. I thought that would be a nice way so that we can hear God's call in different ways. So, all right.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We just arrived yesterday, especially to be with you, my wife, my lovely wife, Eti, and myself, and a dear friend of us, Ben Willings. So I want to tell you a little bit about everything, okay? I think it was 4 years ago, I got a telephone.
Y'all use the microphone,
No, without microphone, they hear me better.
but they can't hear you.
Oh, okay. So 4 years ago, I got a telephone call from my friend Ben, who said, you know, Eyal, you always come to LA, and you always stay in that side of the city. I want to introduce you to a very special community called Westlake. Is it in California? I said, of course, yes. So he invited me here and introduced me to Rabbi Berkeley. And the rest is history. I fell in love with the rabbi, with his wife, with the two potential gold medalists in the Maccabiah. I became a good ambassador of Westlake community all over. And thank you for making the time for me to be with you. So I'll start with the last year and a half, what we went through. So October 7th was very dramatical for all of us, but for my family it was even more than that. 6:29, the siren in Tel Aviv, we live in Tel Aviv, the center of the country, never had any siren in the last decades. Yeah, all of a sudden siren all over the city and rockets all over the place, and it's 6:29. Then at 9 o'clock, my son-in-law calls me, said, you know, your daughter is in the hospital getting to deliver a baby. I said, we didn't know about it. We knew that she is in a bar, but we didn't know. So 10 o'clock, our grandson was born on October 7th, 2023. Thank you for that. 10 o'clock, and my wife regret because this was the first grandchild that she didn't go to hospital to be with our daughters. 12 o'clock, my son-in-law was called to the army, to the reserve. Yeah? And he was the first one to get with his unit to Gaza. So for the first 4 months, you know, if I had a little hair, it's still white because we had white nights all the time. My little daughter came after 3 days from the hospital, and the little one, you know, grew up in the shelter for the first year, because rather than moving back and forth running to the shelter, they accommodated, you know, the dad over there. And what I'm telling you about my family, it crossed the entire country. That's what we went through. But I can tell you that, as Theodore Herzl said, you know, if you will it, it is not a dream. And we knew that we will win eventually. And we did it in a very heroism way. October 7th was very difficult to all of us. A month later, we recovered, and we started to retaliate. And as you know, our region looks now entirely different. Yeah. If in October 6th, we had in the north the Hezbollah, and in the south the Hamas, and yet Iran, you know, a little bit far away, and we had the Syrian border a little bit shakeable. We made the cheshbon, as we say. We knew how to handle them, and one after the other, we destroyed our enemies around us. The situation today in Israel is entirely different. It's a safe country. We weakened the Hamas. We almost disappeared the Hezbollah. Iran is waiting for us in the next few weeks, you know, for very much, and probably it will be soon. Because the Maccabiah will be in the summer, we have to be ready for the games, and everything is coordinated. So the Middle East looks today differently. In terms of the security, Israel is much more secure than in the last 4 decades. As I said, in the borders, we were very proactive. We didn't wait anymore until they start, until they plan. Every time that there is even, you know, a sign that something is going to happen, Israel retaliates. Whether it's in Syria, whether it's in Lebanon, in Gaza. The only concern that we have today is to return our 59 hostages that are still suffering, you know, torture and anger, and you know what we hear the stories about. It's insane. And I relate it because the Maccabi headquarters in Israel is located to Ramat Gan, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv, and we have the largest tourism center in Israel. In the Kfar Maccabiah, we call it the Maccabiah village. We have 2 hotels, we have a huge convention center, we have the largest sports club in Israel, and we have the Maccabi headquarters. October 7, 6 o'clock in the evening, we realized that the people from the south, they don't have any place to return because most of the houses were destroyed, burned. We opened our huge hotel and we accommodated 1,000 evacuees from the south in our headquarters. They just came to the reception, they got the key, they went into the room, we didn't charge a penny for it, they said, you are our guest. And we realized that it will be probably for a few weeks. But they ended up staying in our headquarters for at least a year. Okay? A year. They didn't have a place to go back. And they fell in love with our headquarters because all the facilities that we have over there. We opened school in the headquarters for the kids from the south. We opened even classes for people with special needs. Yeah, we brought entertainers, to give them some relief and enjoy a little bit, to overcome the trauma. A year passed by and we started hosting the families of the wounded soldiers. Sheba, which is the main hospital in Israel, it's about 1 mile away from our headquarters. So families were staying in our headquarters and they were able to go to visit their kids, their children, the wounded soldiers in Sheba. Then the families of the hostages came over to stay in Kfar Maccabiah. Today we have 20 families of the hostages that are staying in Kfar Maccabiah. Those families that their dears return to Israel. They stay in Kfar Maccabiah, they don't want to leave our headquarters. If you know the Bibas family, were tortured in Gaza. By the way, the murder was killed today by the Israeli children. And we will not leave anyone, alive until we get them all the ones that came over to Israel. So the Bibas family, whatever left from the family, Yarden, stayed as of today in Kfar Maccabiah, and the family. The Shiva, was in Kfar Maccabiah. Thousands of people came over, to pay respects, to the family. And it was very interesting, we accommodated the families of the hostages, and the hostages, we closed 3 floors at the hotel to give them an intimate area that nobody will come and bother them. And they had a special dining room over there, separate one. But after a while, they decided, to go to be like regulars, to go down and sit in the regular dining room. So we are entering into the dining room. And once a week, we serve in Kfar Maccabiah an Israeli dinner. What does it mean, Israeli dinner? With hummus and falafel and shawarma and so on and so forth. And the sous chef is an Arab guy from Abu Kush, which is nearby. So you see, 4 of the hostages who came after 500 days come into the dining room and they start talking to him Arabic, because in the 500 days they learned Arabic, and they speak with the sous chef Arabic. We were shocked, This is the only advantage that they get, that they study the language. Anyway, we are waiting for another 59 to come back, and we hope it will be soon. The government the policy is to put on one end, the pressure on the Hamas, on the other end, try to negotiate. Hopefully, with the support of the new US regime, we'll be able to do it faster. But this is something that's still, on the first priority of the Israeli people. We know that until they not return, we will not be able to heal from the tragedy. So that's a little bit about the situation in Israel. Economy is getting better. Unfortunately, hundreds of thousands of Israelis were drafted into the army for the reserve. They couldn't run their businesses. So slowly, they start now return and recover. The Israeli high-tech business is booming. I don't know if you heard, but 2 weeks ago, we had the biggest deal, the biggest exit in Israel, which a company by the name Wiz was sold to Google, and it was a deal of $32 billion.
Wow.
$32 billion, the biggest ever in Israel. 3 of the founders were 26, 32, and 35. Okay? The day that they made the deal and they signed the deal, they put a huge signage on one of the tallest towers in Tel Aviv, which is the Azrieli Center. I don't know if you know, it's a 40-story building, and they made a special announcement over there. Can you figure out what was written over there? The day that they signed the agreement and they got their first check, what was on the signage on the huge building?
Google.
It was written, there is one more important deal than ours. Deal with the Hamas to bring them back home. That's what was in their mind. So you see that the entire country is about, trying to get the hostages back. Talking about returning to normalcy. So a Maccabiah, it's a symbol for that. What the Maccabiah is all about, and as my dear friend, the brother that I've never had,
Brother from another mother.
Said I was the CEO of the organization for 32 years. And when I wanted to retire, they told me, okay, but you stay for another 5 years to run the campaign in North America, mainly in the States. So, this is part of my mission here. The Maccabiah is the Jewish Olympics. Once in 4 years, we run the Maccabiah in Israel, always a year after the Olympics. Why? Because we wanted the Jewish athletes who play at the Olympics will be able to attend the Maccabiah a year later. And you won't believe, you'll be surprised. We have like 20, 30 gold medalists, participating in the games. So the first set of games was in 1932. It was a while before the country was established. At that time, we had like 750 athletes from 17 countries. It was still the Mendite regime at that time. And in addition to the 750 athletes that came over from 70 countries, there were many fans that came over to cheer them up. At that time, there was a status quo. The Brits didn't let neither Jews nor Arabics to come over to the country. They want to keep the status. No one is coming back no one is coming because we want to keep it as it is. So like between the athletes and the supporters, we had like 3,000 people coming to the Maccabiah, and they got a certificate, a temporary certificate to stay in the country for the time of the Maccabiah. The Maccabiah was over. The airport and the seaport were empty. Nobody left the country. They all disappeared in Eretz Israel. They stayed over. So the first two Maccabiot were Maccabiot of Aliyah. Maccabiot that encouraged Jews to come over to the state of Israel. Okay? Since the first Maccabiah in 1932, when we had 750 athletes from 70 countries, we go fast forward to the upcoming Maccabiah in July, in less than 100 days, and we expect over 10,000 athletes from 70 countries.
Wow.
Every single country that there is a Jewish community, even the size of Westec, we will have representation. Okay? So I'm sitting 2 Maccabiot ago next to Shimon Peres, at that time the president of the state of Israel. And the bodyguard says at the middle of the ceremony, we have to leave now because we have other communities. Say, I'm not leaving here because of 2 reasons. First of all, I didn't know that there is a Jewish community in Nicaragua, in Curacao, in Honduras, in Serbia, and so on and so forth. So I want to see them, you know. And secondly, I never heard 10,000 athletes singing a tikva in 28 different dialects. Okay? He said, I have goosebumps. So this is something very meaningful. And when you come to Israel for the Maccabiah, you'll have a lifetime experience. How many of you are coming to Israel? What about the rest? Make the list and we'll take
I'm gonna get them your phone
okay? So what the Maccabiah is all about? You know, the perception is you come, you play basketball, you run 100 meters, and that's the story. No. The idea of the Maccabiah is to bring as many Jewish athletes to Israel to have an Israeli experience. So the ceremonies are with great content about Judaism, about Zionism, about Israel, about the culture. Sightseeing throughout the games, Shabbat program, Jerusalem program, Bar Mitzvah and Bat Mitzvah. You know that 48% of the athletes have never been in Israel. I'm not talking about 14 years old, I'm talking about 40 and 50 and 60. The only reason that they come to Israel, they want to play, have a good time, and win a medal, okay? But our agenda is to instill the love of Israel, to let them discover the roots, to be good ambassadors of the country in their own communities. And I'll give you an example. 8 years ago, when we had the Maccabiah, I found out that in the US team there is a very well-known person who is playing squash. And he was staying in Hilton. This is one of the famous hotels in Tel Aviv. I called the hotel, I said, I want to meet with Mr. I'll tell you later the name, I want to meet with this and this. They say he's unlisted, so you can leave your name, and if he wants, he will call you. A few hours later, I get the telephone, Mr. Tiberger saying, my name is Riyad, not Mr. Tiberger. I heard that you are looking for me. I say, yeah, I would like to meet with you if possible. He said, how about tomorrow morning? I said, great, you know, I left everything behind, and to organize Maccabiah, it's not a small thing. It's the second largest sport event worldwide. You have to realize, yeah? I left everything aside, I went to Hilton, I met with the guy, and sometimes you need luck in the life. He told me, no, we don't go to the dining room, we go separately to the lounge, you know, in the 17th floor, I want to meet with you intimately. I said, this is the day, you know, rather than just, you know, meet with me and be nice to me and then, you know, leave me alone. The guy, we had a meeting, and, you we shared some experiences, and the guy is high, he's in a vibe. He won the evening before the gold medal in squash, so he was in euphoria. I didn't tell him that I arranged the medal for him because I wanted to meet him. So the guy said, I'm so excited to be here with so many, friends and Jews and so on and so forth. Whenever you come to the States, give me a heads up, I want to meet you. I think it was a few months later, I came to the States. The guy is based in Philadelphia. I'm not telling you yet the name because this will be the pitch at the end of the story. And I come to his office. It's a 59-story building. It's like the Shin Bet, the Israeli Shin Bet. Go to the camera, put your thumb, and look at this and smile like that. So I get to his office in the 59 floor, and I get into his office. And it's a beautiful office, but very modest, and he has 2 certificates on the wall. One is that he's graduate of MIT in excellence, and the other one is the certificate of the Maccabiah. He won the gold medal in squash and masters. So I told him, Brian, I'm sure that you made it for me, to impress me. He said, no, this is my passion. These are the 2 milestones in my life. Then we sit in the room, and the guy said, I want to thank you for what you have done for me and my family. I was thinking to myself, what did I do for him that I didn't do for another 6,000 athletes at that time? And he saw that, I don't see the point. And he said, I want to tell you the story. During the Maccabiah, you organized a bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah to the athletes. At that time, 6,000 athletes had a bar mitzvah at the kotel. Okay? And his daughter called him. She used to play junior squash. She called, Dad, this is the highlight of the Maccabiah for me. He said, how about the opening ceremony, which was very exciting. And she said, the opening ceremony was great, but this is something very emotional. So he has another 2 sons that didn't play. They came with the mother as guests. And they told him, we want to have also kind of a ceremony. They said, okay, we stay after the Maccabiah for 2-3 days. They have their own private jet, and we'll arrange it. So to make it fast forward, they come back to the States, they return to Philadelphia, and his wife tell him, let's get to the Reform congregation to be members over there. So then I started realize. So he told me, now I have to tell you the story. My wife is not Jewish. We raised our 3 kids in a very liberal way. In Hanukkah, we had the tree and we had the Chanukiah. We never imposed and never forced to go one place or another. And he said that what you have done for my family, in 2 weeks, change them, their Jewish heritage, and to be part of the community, I couldn't do with my multi-billion company. This guy is the owner of Comcast.
Wow.
He said, yeah, what you have done for my family, I couldn't do with any of my means. So I said, how can I help you? I said, how can you help me? This is the 1 million question. He was very generous. He helped us very meaningfully, and we were able to bring many more kids to the Maccabiah from different countries. And this is the essence of the Maccabiah. You come as an athlete, and you return as Jewish guy with great pride about your homeland, about your history, about your heritage. You make new friends, to be surrounded by 10,000 Jews for 2.5 weeks. And Ben and John will go through this transformation. It's a life experience. and you will witness it because you will be our guest at the opening ceremony of the games, which will be on July 10th, Thursday evening, in Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem. 30,000 guests from all over the world, 10,000 athletes, a special ceremony, and this Maccabiah, it will be even more emotional because we are going to combine, the wounded soldiers. Yeah, we are going to have a special mission of the wounded soldiers, not only marching in the opening, but also participating in the competitions in the Paralympic category. So you'll see amputated soldiers, legs or hands or whatever it is, but it will be very emotional. Also, we lost 15 members of Maccabi, soldiers who got killed in Gaza. Yeah? So we are going to make commemoration and events and so on and so forth. So it will be a very emotional event. On one hand, celebrating the Maccabiah, the games, to show that Israel returns to normalcy. On the other hand, to show the unity, the solidarity, the resilience of the country, make sure that, we get back to normal life as much as possible, with the hope that the hostages will be until then back to Israel. I want to tell you another little story, because otherwise my wife will kill me afterwards. Half a year ago, I was invited to an event in New York. I was in New York. I wasn't invited especially to an event by my friend, and he didn't tell me what it's all about. He just told me, what are you doing tomorrow evening? I said, every meetings as always, running from one meeting to another, to spread the word, try to get my victims involved in the Maccabiah. And said, I'm going to cancel anything here, I just want to be with you. So he invited 12 wounded soldiers that were amputated legs or hands for special treatment in NYU Medical Center, because the orthopedic department had a special device for prosthesis. Usually the prosthesis, the regular one is like, how you call it, Tzva? Tzva.
It's a claw. It's a claw.
Melkachai.
Claw.
Yeah, but they invented, prosthesis with a full hand, and it's connected to sensors to the muscle cells. Then you can play and feel everything. So the 12 soldiers over there are sitting, and my friend asked them to introduce them to understand, what about everyone. So one is saying, I'm 19 years old, I'm in this unit, I was in Gaza, and I was trapped by terrorists, and they said and so on and so forth. So everyone is telling his story, but very little, because they were still, it was very fresh. It was like few months after the injury. Amongst them, there is an older guy who was in a permanent service, and the guy tells about himself, about his family, about his passion, about interest. And then I ask him, what happened to you? He's amputated, right hand, and he lost his eye. So he said, really, you want to know? I said, I want to know, because I saw he's older than the others. So he was in a permanent service already, and he was captain in the armor, of the tanks. So they enter Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is one of the cities in Gaza. And when they entered, he had like 12 tanks behind him. And all of a sudden he saw a group of terrorists, trying to surround them. So he stopped the whole team, went out of the tank and started throwing grenades on the terrorists. And one of the grenades we turned towards the tank, and he jumped on it to save his teammates, yeah? And he lost his hand and he lost his eyesight. So the guy said, I came over here to get the new prosthesis because I want to be ready for the next part of the war in the north. It was September, in October we entered in the north. So I said to myself, the guy, sacrificed already his life, yeah? And now he's talking now about the second war. He wants to be also to run to lead his team. So I told him, Asa, when you come back to Israel, I want to invite you to Shabbat dinner to be with my family because I feel that, you're something that I want to convey your story to others to understand the Z generation of Israel, which we always thought that they are, the TikTok or the Instagram generation, but no, they are heroes. Because of them, we are able to continue our lives. So he came over on Shabbat, and I had my family. Thank God I have 3 daughters, 3 son-in-laws. How many grandchildren you have? Between my wife and myself, we have 9 grandchildren. Yeah. And
That's pretty good for 27.
the oldest one are in the Air Force. The little one, as I said, was born in October 7th. And he sits and he does not have his arm and took the prosthesis because it's still new. He doesn't like to, he's not used to it yet. So the kids, started to ask him what happened. And, he's very, very modest, very shy. Eventually, he told them in short the story. My granddaughter, who is in the 4th grade, came the next day to the school and she told to the teacher, I want to tell you something about my Shabbat dinner with the family. And she told the story. It affected everyone. That's what I wanted to say. But fast forward, a month ago, there is a break news. There is a terror attack in the southern part of Tel Aviv, in Nahalat Binyamin. And a Moroccan-American Muslim guy came over to Israel. Yeah, after a day, he took a knife, he went in the southern part of Tel Aviv, started stabbing, people over there. And in the news, they say, one of the captains that was over there was running after him and caught him and, stopped him. And in Israel now, they don't mention names of soldiers because, the Supreme Court of Hague, every soldier that becomes a criminal.
Right.
So they don't mention names anymore. They don't show faces. So I sent the WhatsApp, Asa, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, where are you? So he said, I'm still in the hospital. So I understood that this is the guy that was there. He came to the next Shabbat to our house. Yeah. And he said, I was sitting over there in a coffee shop. He's still, in a very demanding course in the army. They had leave of absence for a day. He went to a coffee shop and the terrorists came over with a staff behind him and started stabbing him and his friends. So he was the first one, to recover, was running after the terrorists, and with his prosthesis, he gave him, he beaten him, and the terrorists fell down, and then, the other people were able to capture him. But just to tell you a story about our youngsters, this generation, we should be proud of them. You should be proud that, we have these people who are heavily committed to the country and they do everything, and we are grateful for that. So I told you about the situation. I told you a little bit about my family. Did I forget anything?
Do people have questions for you?
Yeah. I told you about the Maccabiah. you'll be amazed to see, people from all over the world. You'll be able to express your foreign languages, 28 different languages in the Maccabiah. Will be a great event. And you mentioned the gala evening. A day before the opening ceremony, we have special event for our VIPs, 500 VIPs in the National Theater of Jerusalem, under the auspices of the president. It will be a very, very special evening. So the content, I leave it as a surprise for the event itself, otherwise you don't have to come.
What's the dress code?
The dress code, casual. It's 40 degrees in Israel that time, probably like in California. So jacket, tie, not suit, not tuxedo, not anything. Come and feel free about it. Before you have any questions, I want to invite my friend Ben, who was a national soccer player in Israel, for many years, and then come on a scholarship to the States, just to study for PhD for a few years, and the rest is history. How many years you are here? 35, but he's a great ambassador. And Ben participated also in the Maccabiah in different positions. Can you say a few words about your experience?
Thank you, Eyal. It's a very tough act to talk after Eyal because he said already everything. Nothing left for me to say, but I will. And I think we are, after us is the food, correct?
No, we still got another hour of davening. Okay, we got 15 minutes, but.
The food is after me, so I'll make it very short. Anyway, so I was a professional soccer player in Israel. I was in the national team. I came here recruited by CW Postdoc Management University on a scholarship, played the whole scholarship, became a chiropractor, came to California, opened a vocational schools, and that's what I am right now. So for 35 years, I'm thinking all the time, about Israel, and I have guilt, why I left and everything, and I have a wife and 3 kids, and I think all the time, what should I do? How can I instill in them the love to Israel? And then I met Eyal, and he said, hey, you're an athlete, why you don't get involved in the Maccabiah? I said, wow, that's a great idea. And I start going to the Maccabiah, and I'm going religiously every 4 years, and I take the family with me to the Maccabiah. And I want to tell you something, even that I'm Israeli, that grew up in Israel and living in the United States, it's connected me back to Israel. It's connected me to sport. You get goosebumps when you get to the stadium and you have like 40,000 people and all Jews and 10,000 athletes and then you sing the Tikva, and I look at my kids and I see their eyes, and I really, through the Maccabiahs, I connected my kids to Israel. And one of my kids is working in the Israeli embassy he worked for Mike Herzog, and now it's a Leiter, and she works and she feels like it's a mission for her. My son is working in a startup and he's working with Israel. And my daughter, and I'm a little bragging here, got accepted to UCLA and Berkeley Engineering and also to Duke. And the first thing she's asking, do they have Hillel? Do they have Chabad? So through the Maccabiah, I succeeded to connect my kids to Israel. And I can tell you just from, my point of view, there is, when you're living life, you have a couple of moments that you remember all your life. So I want to tell you the moments that I have from the Maccabiah. One is the stadium. When you enter the stadium, when you have these 40,000 people and you hear the Tikva, and I'm telling you, this is one of the moments you will never forget. There's another moment in the Maccabiah. I don't know if you will do it this year, but you have a show in Jerusalem at night on the wall, a digital show. I'm telling you, this is Jerusalem, the stars, you're close to God, local phone call, and you see this digital history of Israel on the wall at night with like another few thousand Jews. Unbelievable. Another thing that I want to tell you is when we're going with Eyal, we going also army bases, so we're meeting soldiers and commanders and things like that. That's exciting to see that, Israelis and Jews are not anymore, that we're fighting for survival. That's very exciting. So Maccabiah gave me a couple of moments that unbelievable, but the key thing is connecting my family and my kids that grew up in the United States to Israel. Also, I want to tell you something very important to those of you who are going. You are supporting Israel. This is unbelievable. Israel need the tourism now. Israel need your support. Israel need to see Jews are coming. We need to get our confidence back, our self-esteem back. This is so important. You're doing a mitzvah, and thanks to the rabbi that bring your group, this is a good cause, okay? And you will never forget this experience. This is one of the best experiences of my life, and I'm voting for that. Thank you.
So after your speech, it's difficult to any questions about Israel, about the Maccabiah, about the summer, about the trip, please.
I had a question about Israel. Online, I see a lot of men in the army saying that they don't have enough equipment, they don't have the right helmets. Is this true?
I'll tell you what happened. First of all, the budget of the Ministry of Defense is the biggest in Israel. It's, $40 billion. This is the largest budget of any of the ministerial offices. What happened on October 7th, we were surprised, unfortunately. And in one day, we recruited to the army 500,000 Israelis, for reserve. Usually in a normal time, you get 20,000, 40,000. So in one shot, to get 500,000 Israelis into the army, we didn't have enough equipment. Yeah, if we would have time, it would be differently. So therefore, we were missing some of the equipment. The vest, how you call the
Armor vest.
The armor vest, the special glasses over there, and luckily we have great Jewish communities around the world, especially in the States, that they supported the army at that time. So it took us 2 months to get into a normal situation. Even with the ammunition, we weren't ready, to fight all over for such an extensive situation. My son-in-law, who serves in an elite unit of the paratrooper in a reserve, he came to us and said, we need special bags, for the equipment, and we have old ones. And, if we go to Gaza and it's not, fit us, it will be very difficult. So my wife took over and, amongst our friends, we were able to help to get them, new bags, especially for the time. So it really was the situation, and we never had such a long war. It's over a year, fighting, and unfortunately, we had some obstacles on the way. Boycott, don't get this, don't get that, don't fight here, don't fight there. So we felt like we are the only country in the world that are not able to win a war. Yeah, that's what we felt. Don't do this, do this. Bring the humanitarian assistance, do more and do more. But thank God everything is okay. The army now, the equipment, everything is in place. We hope we won't have another surprise in the future. We will not let it be, and we'll continue move forward. But what happened, all of a sudden, we have now 18,000 wounded soldiers that need support. Yeah, we need to build now new rehabilitation centers. You know, after 2 months, 3 months in the hospital, in the rehab department, you go out and then you need to go to rehabilitation. So we find ourselves also helping, you know, organization in rebuilding new centers for the soldiers. Hospitals, you know, need more support. Also, FIDF probably you are involved with this in one way or another. Yeah, we need the support. We have to recover the south of Israel. You know, the government now allocated $5 billion to rebuild the southern part of Israel. You know, the Gaza Strip. If you ask me if it's enough, no, it's not enough. In Nir Oz, yeah, it was almost burned, the entire kibbutz, yeah? So government allocated yesterday 315 million shekels, which is like $100 million. It's not enough. But, you know, we have limited budget, so any support that comes from the States or from any Western country is helpful to our efforts, you know, to rebuild these places.
What is the best way to contribute to that?
By giving to your local synagogue.
But, you know, don't laugh, you know. On October 7th, on October 8th, when I got a telephone call from the CEO of the hospital in Haifa, that, you know, was the only hospital that had at that time rehab department to treat the soldiers who got injured in the south but live in the north. So they moved into the rehab, and we said we need to buy equipment because they didn't have that much equipment. So I called the rabbi, and he spoke. It was domestic or long distance.
From my house, it's local.
And thanks to Rabbi and Ben and other friends, we were able to raise a very substantial amount, and we furnished the hospital with the medical devices, and today, thank God, they are, you know, have everything they need in order to treat the wounded soldiers. And, you know, I got involved in another organization of the orphan kids. You know, unfortunately, in the last war, 900 new orphans are around, and we have to take care of them. Yeah, to be an orphan at the age of, you know, childhood, it's a trauma. Not only the mother is in trauma, but the kid, and, you know, you have to support him. So I'm now involved with an organization called Sunflowers that deal with, you know, the orphans of the war, and prior to the war, you know, that became orphans. And we do, every Israeli is doing now his utmost to help any organization just to make sure that the whole society will be together, will be united, and this is part of the resilience of the country. So if you wish to help anyone who wish to help, you know, Rabbi Bentley is the right person to talk about it. And I'm sure that once you'll be in Israel, you'll appreciate what you have done for the country throughout the war. You see, strong country, not yet a happy country, but country that is in a process of recovering, and that's what we ought to do. Please.
What is your opinion as to what's happening as far as the future with the war? How is Israel? I know how they're doing to date. What are you projecting going forward?
As I said, we became very proactive now in the various borders. You know, you see what happened in Syria. Once the regime tear apart, Israel started attacking, you know, all the bases over there to ensure that we destroy all the ammunitions, all the aircrafts, all the artillery, everything, to make sure that the new regime will not have an idea, start attacking us. In Gaza, the Hamas started build the infrastructure, we destroyed it. you know, in Yemen, in the Houthim in Yemen, you know, the US said, you know, let us deal with that. So they are doing the job. In the north, we have a ceasefire, so-called, but every move of the terrorists, we attack them. So we're feeling that, you know, the region is changed now. Yeah? If they had a dream to attack Israel from Gaza in the north and Iran all together, it won't happen anymore. Yeah? Because they don't have the ability, and we are very alert now. So, and I didn't mention Judea and Samaria, you know, which is also a very turmoil region. But my feeling that, you know, the countries will respect Israel now, and they will not think twice. They will not do anything because they know how we can retaliate. So, as I mentioned before, the security situation in Israel is now much better than in the last 50 years, and it will continue to be the same. That's my wishful thinking and my feeling. Please,
Thank you.
So you don't,
ladies first.
okay. I was just curious about Turkey, Erdogan. What's going on there? Is he coming into Syria?
He's a madman, you know, and he has an aspiration like Napoleon. He wants to dominate the region. But Israel, you know, gave him lesson yesterday. He wanted to get into Hama. This is one of the Air Force bases in Syria that he wanted to take over. We destroyed it the other day, so he doesn't have a place to do. But, you know, we have to take, you know, to pay attention to his moves in the region, and will be proactive, as I mentioned. Please.
Is there any chances of Israel annexing Judea and Samaria?
This is a very delicate situation, you know. If you ask Trump, he will say, you know,
Yeah.
get it in. If you ask Biden, he will tell you something else. So Israel has to consider how to do it in a proper way. You know, we have the Otzma Yehudit, Tzionut Datit, we have Ben Gvir, we have Smotrich. This is the dream, you know, to annex the Judea and Samaria. For the time being, we keep the status. The status quo, as we say. Please.
There was a report by, I believe, an Israeli controller general, I think. I don't know if you're familiar, but the report is from June 23. So it's before the October 7th, and it was just made public. I don't know if you're familiar. And the point of, there are a lot of things in the report, but one thing was that they checked the condition of the northern border, defense of the northern border, and according to that report, it was very poor. So their conclusion of that report is that had Hezbollah attacked on October 7th, it could have been even more tragic than what we have experienced. I don't know if you heard about that report or you have any opinion on that. I mean, if there's any silver lining on October 7th.
I would say we didn't have to read this report. We realized that if at the same time Hezbollah would attack also Israel and Iran would send some rockets to Israel, the situation would be complicated. Don't want to go that far, but you know, we could find them in Haifa and in Be'er Sheva and in Tel Aviv.
Any other questions? You can ask more questions when you come to Israel and you're at a gala at a party with Eyal at the National Theater.
Absolutely. But you'll visit the southern part of Israel and the north, and you'll see the beauty of the country. You'll enjoy Israel. How many of you haven't been in Israel before going now? You won't believe how friendly is the country. Yeah? I'm sure that here, yeah, you don't know many of your neighbors in the next house, yeah? You don't know the name, you don't know even the family name. I can tell you in Israel, after 5 minutes, they know everything about you, and you know everything about them. Israel is a very friendly country. You know, the Israelis are embracing, each other, and especially the guests from abroad. So you feel very comfortable in Israel. You will enjoy it. It will be 2 weeks of experience, a lifetime experience. So you'll enjoy it, I promise you, and we'll see you in Israel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And someone asked about Judea Samaria. Just noticed something in the news. 6 months ago, nobody was calling it Judea Samaria, they were calling it the West Bank. I mean, notice that the language now has changed. So it is, how do we feel called to go to Israel now? And that's why it's a fantastic tour. And the reality is that Israel has been there. When you go, you'll see Mount Olives, you'll see cemetery, you'll see burial places where our ancestors were buried thousands of years ago. We'll go to the tomb of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. And one thing about Israel is that it really is from generation to generation. Ben said it perfectly when he said that it's still the love of Israel for his children. And we spoke about the honor of Comcast and his children. And hopefully you guys will have a deeper love for it. And all of us, because that is really what it is about. Right, Ben?
We are gifts, we are blessings, we are history and song. We are hope, we are healing, we are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories, we are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Adore, adore, Nagi, Adore, adore, we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Adore, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadows of the mountain to the waters that part. We are blessed, we are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. The door of a door, Nagi Golem. The door of a door, we protect this chain. From generation to generation. The door of a door, these lips will praise your name. The door of a door, these lips will praise your name.
So now I'm going to give a tour for the next 90 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then you're taking questions.
Let's take questions. No, we couldn't do that because then we wouldn't get to Francine's cheesecake. Announcements. It's our priorities. That's a guitar. Some announcements. We do not have services next week, and we're dark throughout Pesach, as is typically the case. My family and I go out of town for Passover, lock up the house, and get out. Just because it's, yeah, because it's just easier. And so that's number one. Number two, we do have class this Monday or no? No, we do not have class this Monday. But we will be gathering back after Pesach. A lot of things going on. Some events is coming up. Services. We're going to be sending out high holiday packets in May. I know it's weird, but we're getting close. If you have not registered for Israel, you can still. And if you're contemplating getting a little late, don't worry about it. I don't think they're going to turn down anyone as long as those homes are there. And can you actually ask a great question? We will be doing more events. We'll get emails about it. We're doing an event in May for B'nai Zion Hospital. We'll be doing another one, a golf event as well, hopefully later. We'll be doing hopefully some stuff for Sunflower to raise for the widows and orphans. And we always joke about the temple. We don't run it through the temple. 100% of it goes to the organizations. So God willing, you'll get emails about stuff as they come up. And when we're in Israel, those of you who will be there, either on the way from Tel Aviv, either on the way from Jerusalem to Tiberias, or on the way from Tiberias to Tel Aviv, I don't remember which, I know we're stopping at the hospital to see the CEO. Wanted to say thank you. So for those, how many of you, just so he can see, how many of you gave something to the hospital when we've asked for? So thank you for that. You actually saved lives. Legitimately saved lives. Matt, what you got going?
Well, let me see. We're doing a bathroom remodel. My wife let me pick out some of the fixtures. Pretty astounding, so I feel I'm feeling pretty powerful. Is that what you meant?
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
So, well, you can see me for the.
We're going to talk about brunch right after that, right?
Champagne brunch cruises that I do in Marina Del Rey on Saturday and Sunday. You're going all the time, and come out and see me. If you don't want to come out in a group, feel free to just, contact me and I'll see what I can hook up for you individually. I'm also writing and producing a bunch of stuff right now, so I'm very excited to be back in the studio again and breaking out music.
Thank you. Benny,
Yeah.
what you got going besides, what did you do last weekend?
I was in Vegas last weekend. Had a good time. It wasn't, crazy or anything, but anything exciting. I saw I saw
Sikha?
Dita Montes.
Right.
I saw.
How was that?
It was fine. Burlesque, it kind of starts and ends the same way every time. Anyway, I know some of you saw Cabaret in Thousand Oaks. Yes, love that. I saw it a couple weeks ago. Anyway, you want to follow me on social media to see what's going on. I still do Wednesday nights in downtown for country music, as well as the Broadway Brass Band is still happening online. I know some of you are big supporters. I really appreciate that. So you go on Meet Our Clergy on our website. You can find a picture of me in a crew neck, turtleneck kind of thing. And then there are links to all the stuff that I'm doing. So if you visit the temple website, then visit me. It's perfect. It's a double whammy. So Shabbat Shalom and happy Passover. We'll be together again soon.
Orlando, missing anything?
No, it's just keep checking on emails.
Right, and as is typical for most synagogues and ours, this is the crunch time of year before we start getting pledges and donations in for high holidays. So feel free to help with that. It's needed to get to that place. We will be starting Shabbat under the stars. We will have them in the summer. We will take the time off while we're in Israel, but we will have Shabbat under the stars and then Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur. I know it's kind of weird, isn't it, that we're already Oh, the other thing is, did you hear from Ellis? So we're waiting to hear from the details. They've been promising for 6 months, but I know it's been approved that we will be doing bingo on Monday nights at the Canyon Club. So hopefully that will help. And bingo was his name. Okay, so we continue our service because I told them we've got another 2 hours to go. Misha Bera. You know, it's interesting. One of the places we'll be going in Israel, Mizrach Hashem, is the cave of Machpelah, whereas one person put our mamas and our papas are buried. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Sarah, Rebecca, and Leah. And when we pray for healing, we pray that the one who blessed our ancestors bless us. Bless our mothers and fathers. So if there's someone you wish to pray for their healing, I ask that you please rise as we call out.
Ruth Levinsky and Dennis Prager.
Carol Jaffe.
Martin Griffin.
Rick Albright.
Lisa
And for all of those and for all of those who have been injured through acts of God, acts of war, especially those who are first responders here in the U.S. or in Israel, especially those who have been injured in this horrible war of the last 18 months. We pray that they should have a complete healing of the refuah, shlema, the neshama, full healing of the body and the spirit. For those who have no one to pray for them, we pray for them. We should be.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with Refuah Shlema. Renew all of body, renew all of spirit, and let us say,
Turn to page 118, and we rise for the Elena, where we take upon ourselves the yoke of the kingdom of heaven, take upon ourselves the blessing of the Torah, take upon ourselves to be willing to call out to God and to hear God's call to us.
וגור עלינו עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש baruchu Shem notei shamayim ve'oseh haaretz Moshe v'Aaron b'shamayim nima'al Ushiyat Yisrael v'kohen Elohim Eloheinu Elohim v'Melkeinu et Mesulato Karkatu v'Torato Yelata Yom HaShemota Eleva v'Echa Adonai Hu Elohim B'shamayim ima'al Ya'aretz Ya'aretz Nizar Eino
To protect God, and I am look alone.
Lemar Bahaya Adonai Melech al kol haaretz Vayom Ahu Yeh Adonai Echad U'Shemo U'Shemo U'Shemo
Please be seated. Turn to page 124 of the Kaddish. Again, remember the Kaddish is a prayer. It's in Binyan Hitpa'el. It is the idea that the Shemei Rabbah, the great name of God, has made itself more holy. Yikadal has made itself bigger. Yikadash has sanctified itself. Yitaleh has reflected itself on. And it has done this in this case with the souls of the people who remember. If there's someone that you wish to remember, because it is a yard site, it is a year of mourning, or just because I ask that you rise as we call out the names. Aren't you consider that's okay?
Jerry brought it.
How many years should your ranges have?
Remember all those who died in the service of God's name, all those who died as first responders to the U.S. because you are fire, police, especially those who have died from sickness and from terrorist wars and this war. Those who don't remember, we remember them. Blessed. If it is your tradition to rise from the Kaddish, ask that you do so. Let's return to page 124. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma tivrach irutei v'yamlit malchutei. V'ayakon, v'yakon. V'v'chayei tachol beit Yisrael. V'halav v'zman kari v'imru. Hey, Shemei Rabbah. V'olam v'alamei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak. V'yihar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'tadar v'yitaleh v'talal Shemei v'yishab. Le'ela mikol birakata shirata. Amiran be'alma ve'imru. Yehi shlam ha'rava v'yishamaya v'chayim aleinu. V'chol Yisrael ve'imru. Osei shalom b'romah v'ya'asei shalom. Aleinu v'chol Yisrael. And everyone who hates peace and nourishment, peace upon their souls, their families, their communities, peace upon this community, peace upon this nation. Please, God, peace upon Israel and in our time. Peace in all the world, and together we say, Amen. Stay seated. So y'all, like most congregations, in Shabbat we sing, read a Reuben's favorite song. I However, starting on the Shabbat after October 7th, we made a different commitment, so we sing something else in terms of words to it. This is something that we Good Shabbos.